That's all Detroit right now. Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson. News breaking today. He's staying. He ain't bleeping leaving. That's right. And that's where we begin today. We had plans that we will push for later in the show. This is how we begin. Jim Costa in for Mike Valenti. Don't know if you noticed yesterday, he sounded like death. He's going to take a day. He's on the mend.
Yeah.
Rico, I am confused, but I am not complaining. I thought Ben Johnson was gone. There's only 32 of these jobs.
I thought he was out the door.
New ownership in D.C., the number 2 pick. Felt like a foregone conclusion. I'm very confused that he didn't leave for a big pay raise and a chance to run the show, but I am not complaining.
I was expecting the exact opposite news. I thought that at this time tomorrow, they were going to say, we got our coach. They were flying here in all of this crap and snow to meet with him. That's how important he was to them. Everybody else, we can do through Zoom. We need to go out to Detroit.
Yeah, to close this thing up. Right, to get ink dry on a contract.
So when the news came and Evan told us, I was like, what?
Yeah.
He's not going? But then as I said, speculation comes out. Adam Schefter is saying, hey, his asking price was a little too high.
Spooked some teams, as
scared
he said.
some teams
Yeah.
away. Josina Anderson came out earlier, and I remember when it was the $15 million thing, and his agent, no, I don't know where she got her information from. Now it leads me to wonder, we all made fun of Josina, but maybe she was on to something at the time. But if you're Detroit, you don't care.
Nope.
Because he's going to run it back. You don't care because this means, okay, further, an example that Goff is your guy because everybody was wondering, what are you going to do with Goff when he leaves? Well, he's not leaving.
What happens to the offense? Well, exactly.
He's not leaving. So you're going to bring him back. Detroit, this has to be something that makes you feel better. Yeah, this has to be a cure for the hangover. This is like, your mom giving you some Robitussin when you're sick, okay? Doesn't take away the sickness right away, but you start feeling a little better.
Well, yeah, I don't know that I'll ever be over what happened on Sunday.
But you feel better than you did.
But
you
this
feel
helps.
better than you did 2 hours ago.
This softens the blow. Absolutely it does. So that's
because
what I want to ask.
Because now you're dreaming. We can do this. We can run this back.
Pick up the pieces and get this thing back on the tracks. 248-539-9797. Does this soften the blow? Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson, as Dan Miller says.
Who, Dan?
He's staying, people. He's staying. This team going to be right back in the mix next season, and you're worried about drop-off and Dan Campbell's harsh reality that he told the team this might have been our only shot. This goes a long way to making sure you get another shot at this.
Offensively, yeah, you got a lot of young pieces. This helps.
Yeah.
This helps you because the offense was designed by him. I didn't know who was going to be the heir apparent. Is it Brunell? Is it Randall Lale? Like, who was going to be that guy that takes over the offense? You don't have to worry about that, at least for another year. He wants to come back. Now, according to sources, Ben Johnson says he's doing it because he wants to win a Super Bowl.
Yep.
Unfinished business. You want to hear that. That should excite you, Detroit. That kind of like last year when he had the chance to go to Carolina, but I'm so glad he didn't because that's just a toxic place to go. But he saw something and said, you know what? Give me one more shot with this team. Now, he got to sit at the table. He got to eat a little bit at the table, but he didn't get to finish the meal. Now he wants to go back. He thinks he can take this offense, which look, the offense was humming. The way that offense was playing, I'll say it again. In that first half, you could have beat anybody in the NFL. That thing was, you weren't punting the ball, and I didn't think they were ever going to punt the ball because it was like, yeah, you weren't even getting close to like third and long. What is that? I don't understand.
Well, and even the third and longs, they were converting all of them. They had like 5 third and long conversions in that first half, running 7 yards a carry any way you want it. Felt like all you got to do is run the ball and you're going to the Super Bowl. Yeah, I don't know that I'll ever get over it because of the missed opportunity.
But I don't understand this. 32 jobs. I would have gone. because new ownership in D.C.
Yeah, it's not Daniel Snyder.
Number 2 pick overall. You can go get the quarterback that you want.
Getting a big pay raise.
And by bringing in a new quarterback, expectations fall off. Are you going to the Super Bowl next year? No, but you could actually build something. And we saw what he did in 2 years in Detroit. So I don't think it would take that long if he gets the right quarterback. Yeah, and if you get fired, you'll be the OC again, someplace else. I would have taken it, but he wants to come back, unfinished business. Shocking, but good for him. 248-539-9797.
And good for the city. Yeah, I mean, listen, in the confusion, like, I don't know. Sometimes you don't take things at face value and you wonder, like last year with Carolina, what really happened? And it was a toxic.
Yeah, it was the owner. That's what happened.
Yeah. Now, but this offseason, there were 8-9 jobs open, and he interviewed for a majority of them. There was at least an earnest interest in becoming a head coach to where he took all these interviews, but only to say, I'm good. Or was he not offered a job?
See, I wonder.
Is this PR? I'm not reporting it, but you wonder.
If you're hearing about the money, it makes me wonder. If you really want me, you're going to pay me top dollar. And it's just like, whoa, that's not how this works.
So why the absurd asking price? Is it that he really just didn't want to leave and he said, make me an offer I can't refuse, and no one did?
Or maybe it's like Monty Williams. I'll come and coach your team, but you're going to pay me this amount of money. Deal. Okay. Let's go Pistons.
And we were looking up like what NFL coaches make, and you said the report, Jacina Anderson, a while back, he wanted 15.
Right.
15 would put him on the caliber of guys who have won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I don't think teams were willing to pay that. Why did he set that price? I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know. At this point, I don't really care because he's coaching the Lions. But
you know what? He's gambling on himself. We hear this a lot of times with athletes, and that's what he's doing right now, because the downside to that is what you don't want to become is you don't want to become the NFL coordinator version of Matt Campbell, the Iowa State head coach, who at one point in time, remember, when Dan Campbell interviewed for the job, he even joked and said, well, I had to tell the Fords that I was actually Matt Campbell to make sure I got the interview. Matt Campbell at the time, everybody wanted him. Right now, yeah, he's going to be a Cyclone for life. Let's just put it that way.
248-539-9797. Very different tone as we start the show today. You know, I think today was going to be about picking up the pieces, and one of the biggest pieces is Ben Johnson. There's no search for a new OC, and how's Goff going to look? I think you're going into next season expecting another top 5 offense that will be creative, that's going to be physical, they will run the football. This team's going to be right back in the mix again.
And he wants to go back to the Super Bowl, and you know what? Maybe this motivates him to come out and have better third quarters. I'm serious, man. Like, that was his only flaw. Like, man, it's brilliant, but it was just like, what happens at halftime where you do nothing and then you pick it back up again in the fourth quarter?
Yeah.
But he's motivated. He wants to come back, and if you're Detroit, this probably was the best news you've gotten since I don't know when.
Well, there's no better news you could have gotten today.
No. Snow's coming down. Roads are horrible. Looks crappy. Kenny, I mean, I felt bad. It's just like, let's just make this day as painless as possible for Kenny. Kenny's bouncing off the wall right now.
Yesterday was so doom and gloom. This could not have arrived at a better time. It's all about the continuity of next year. We were so bummed out about what happened on Sunday. This is a splash of warm water in our faces.
Well, and Paul can speak to it. Paul sat across from me on Sunday night as I'm wrapping up Lions postgame. Describe what I looked like.
You look like a lost man, a soul wandering the wilderness. It was kind of scary, actually, because you're usually, even when they lose, you usually keep some professionalism about you, and you were just a beaten man.
Paul's like, I just want to get you home. He's like, you look so beaten, so battered.
Oh,
so
yeah.
broken.
You look like you need a warm soup.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, no, because later that night as I was doing show prep, I was like, I wonder what people. So I tuned in, and it was Stoney.
Yeah.
He was just dealing with the angry folks, and I was just like, man, you got to feel good right now. Saying all of that, if you're a Detroiter, I don't even know what the best news you've heard since. I guess you probably feel this the first time when the Lions won that first playoff game.
Yeah.
This is how you're feeling right now, knowing your guy, he chose you. He chose to stay in Detroit.
Huh?
He chose you over money, over a head coaching job. He said, no, I want to be with the Lions. We got something here. We keep saying, a new culture. This is a step.
Yeah.
You've turned down NFL jobs for 2 years in a row. That's why I'm not getting into this, folks, so don't call about this. This is 15 seconds. Argument I have with Jeff Rieger because he was bringing up same old lines. I'm like, Jeff, you can't do this. We've moved past that. This is another step that tells me this Lions team is new. I don't ever recall somebody turning down not one job, but 2 years in a row to come back and continue being an assistant coach with the Detroit Lions team.
Yeah, think about it. There is real risk here. There's risk of what you talked about is you're no longer the fad of the flavor of the month. There's the risk that you never get that payday that was on the table this offseason, and you might not win a Super Bowl. But he thinks so highly of this group, this team, this organization, and their possibility of running it back, not just to the NFC title, but to winning the whole thing, that he is willing to forego all of that money, opportunity that may never come again. And he's 37, it probably will, but he's willing to risk it because of what's in front of him in Detroit.
Yeah, because the reports are very interesting because you're reading various people in the know saying that he told the Commanders this before they even got here, which I'm like, okay, that's a little bit of a Richard move right there.
Well, he's trying to make sure they come out and interview his
and I was
buddy
about
Aaron
to say,
Glenn.
yeah, because I got a feeling if they said, well, you know what, Aaron, do you want? Yes. Aaron, we haven't officially offered it.
Yes.
Do I want the command? Yes.
Yes.
Let's go.
And there's no shame if he takes it. It's not like, oh, Ben Johnson's better than Aaron Glenn or better person.
Aaron Glenn.
You get offered one of 32 jobs, you
and
take
that's just it. It's like, okay, it's not going to be perfect. It's like the draft. It's like, well, yes, everybody would like to go to some warm, go to Miami, go to LA, go to Phoenix. Guess what? Number one pick, you're going to Chicago. Buy a winter coat and enjoy the Chicago winters.
Yeah, most coaches take over bad teams,
right?
Because teams that are bad fired their coaches.
Right.
Typically, you don't get to choose.
Right. You mean I can't go coach Kansas City? No, Andy Reid is still there.
And maybe, again, you don't know. It's hard to say he's waiting for that job because you just don't know.
But most coordinators, man, they're on the first thing smoking.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I've seen a ton of guys leave San Francisco. Hey, you want to coach? Yes, I do. You want to coach? Yes, I do. Mm-hmm. From the Jets to the Dolphins, like they're gone. The Texans.
Yep. DeMeco Ryans.
They're gone. So to hear somebody say,
we don't see this every day.
You know
or
what?
Really ever.
I'm good.
I'll stay.
I'm staying. I want to win a Super Bowl. Matt, you know what? I have respect for him because he really feels, and look, the offense that Detroit has, he should feel that way.
Yes.
That he's putting the needs of the team over his because he could have been a head coach. I think the job when everybody else is pretty much getting Zoom interviews and they're flying the organization out to Detroit Metro Airport in this crap, I think they wanted him.
248-539-9797. As Dan Miller says, Ben Johnson. He's staying. He will be the OC, and he says, let's go for a Super Bowl. Does this soften the blow of Sunday? And your reactions next, 97.1.